Howdy folks, how's it going? Gabriel here. Greetings from Cozumel, Mexico. Cozumel is an island in the Caribbean Sea, just off of the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. So a short ferry ride and then bus ride that away will get you to Cancun, Mexico. This is a much mellower scene here though. A bit touristy, but still a really nice spot. So I've been hanging out here for a few days, exploring, biking around, checking out some Mayan ruins, jumping in the beautiful blue clear waters here, etc. So feel free to subscribe to my channel here, both to follow my upcoming world travels. I've been in Mexico for a couple of weeks and I'm heading next to Belize and then likely to Guatemala after that. So feel free to follow my travels, and also there will be lots more upcoming spiritual content. So this video is on the subject of how to experience altered states of consciousness without drugs. Now, in saying that, then I'm not making any kind of a judgment against drugs or mind-altering substances, but that is kind of a whole nother topic, and I've done videos previously giving my perspective on the use of such substances. But this video is going to be just on how to induce, bring about, experience altered states of consciousness through various other techniques and exercises and means other than ingesting some sort of a substance. So this is definitely a very important topic, and so I want to give some very practical, down-to-earth, useful information, because this is something that is available to everyone essentially for free, and in my view then it is a just essential integral component of being human, and even beyond being human, of just being a conscious being, that we have available to us a wide range or spectrum of different states of being, different states of consciousness, and that it is really to our detriment to get locked into a narrow, closed-minded, constrictive frame of being and point of view, and that humanity is to a great extent locked into such a constrictive state of being. So Graham Hancock talks about the alert problem solver state of consciousness, which is what most of humanity is in much of the time, which is a very linear, straightforward, I have a job to do and I have to do A, B, C, and D in order to get that job done and then achieve a certain result. And so that is kind of the most valued state of consciousness in our world today. And this vast array of other states of being and states of consciousness are to a great extent devalued, and beyond that even not known, not made aware of to people, that we can access these various states of being through various means. So I'm just going to outline a few specific things that people can keep in mind and try for themselves. And I will make a little list down below this video of everything that I mention in this video. And so you can just try these things out for yourself. They're all essentially free, available to anyone, and can bring about very unique, different, creative, mind-opening, heart-opening, mind-blowing states of being through especially the use of one very important element here. That is conscious intention. And that is the most important thing that goes along with all of these various techniques that I will mention, is simply the conscious intention of accessing one's true potential within. And the conscious intention of being open to whatever may transpire within and be brought forth for one to tap into and experience. Pardon the waves that are kicking up a little bit. I see they're slamming into the rocks here. I just took a swim a few minutes ago. It's like the most amazing, clear blue water you can imagine. It's absolutely exquisite. So anybody can experience these altered states of consciousness simply through deciding, okay, I'm going to set aside a time and a space and utilize, you know, one or more of these techniques in order to see what happens, see what transpires, see what comes up, see what you tap into, see what visions you have, etc. And so the most important thing then is just making a conscious intention within your own mind of I am stepping out of my normal frame of being and going within and coming more deeply into the moment in order to see what my true potential is within myself. This is the most readily available, easily accessible way to experience altered states of consciousness, and I have experienced very profound states of being through meditation. Meditation is a matter of tapping into that potential within through the use of conscious intention, focused intention, harnessing the power of one's consciousness in order to come more into the moment, become more aware of one's thoughts, feelings, emotions, inner states of being, etc. And in the course of that, you change your consciousness. And so that's really the most straightforward, basic concept to keep in mind, is that we can change our consciousness, our experience of awareness of being in this current, present, now moment through simply deciding to change it. That's really all there is to it. We aren't at the mercy of outside circumstances affecting us and making us feel a certain way. I don't mean to say that the outside world is irrelevant. That's kind of a whole nother topic and a whole nother school of thought. I'm really about finding a balance between outer and inner. So the point being that you have the power and potential to change your state of consciousness right here, right now, simply with a few basic tools and exercises. You do not have to be at the whim, at the mercy of outside circumstances, events in your life. You don't need drugs, sex, money, a relationship, a yacht, etc. in order to feel a different way than you feel now, if you would like to feel differently, if you do not feel fully happy, satisfied, content in your life, if you're not enjoying the present moment as much as you suspect that you probably can. And to a great extent, it is about seizing the moment, seizing the now. People are locked into a state of being of trying to get out of themselves. That we have various traumas that have occurred in our past that have affected our psyche and our mental and emotional bodies, and this doesn't feel good. And so what is driving people to do the things that they do in their lives is to a great extent about trying to get away from their true, real feelings, to try to get away from the now, basically. And so what I'm talking about here, and what basically all spiritual paths are talking about at their core, is about coming more into the moment, into the present moment, and seizing the moment and saying, I am going to be here now and face whatever I have to face in the course of that, face my shadows, if you will, and see what comes up, you know, brave the darkness, face the difficult stuff, and in so doing you change that which you are experiencing in the present moment. Rather than trying to get out of yourself, get away from yourself, through going more deeply into yourself, even if that means experiencing your inner pain, you then transform and change that pain through the focus of your mind, of your consciousness into the present moment. And so that's ultimately what meditation is about, is just being more in the present moment, and through the ongoing practice of it, coming ever more deeply into the present moment, and then changing your state of mind, your state of being in the process. Next would be yoga, and you can include with this all various types of body work. Think of how differently you feel after a massage. The body is an integral part of our being. Altered states of consciousness is not just about the mind, the non-physical, the metaphysical. Obviously, if you think about taking drugs, magic mushrooms, peyote, ayahuasca, whatever, you're taking a physical substance which is affecting your physical body, but then that is affecting your state of consciousness, your mind, your non-physical self. And so there is a connection between mind and body, obviously, between the physical world, and our physical body is our expression of our self in the physical world, but then we have other components of our being. Taking mind-altering substances then is a way of utilizing the physical world to change our inner metaphysical state of being, essentially. But then there are other ways to do the same thing in different ways. And so making use of yoga and various types of body work, it taps into your chi, your inner energy, your spiritual energy, and gets that flowing. It gets you more connected with your body, which is a very important part of being here now. Being in the present moment is acknowledging I am a human being on planet Earth in the third dimension, and as long as I am a human being, then I'm going to be with this body, and this body is part of my experience. And so bring it along for the ride fully and completely, and consider it a spiritual aspect of yourself. Not something to get out of, not something to denigrate, but to utilize. And so yoga, massage, qigong, tai chi, martial arts even, and then you can branch off into running and getting a runner's high, or bicycling or swimming, or there are lots of ways to experience altered states of consciousness through utilizing the body, pushing the body to its limits and beyond your preconceived ideas of what your limits are, and bringing about changes in your consciousness as a result. Fasting is one of the most powerful, effective, potent ways to really go deep within, to experience very altered states of consciousness, and to push yourself beyond your limits, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in a completely safe way. I just recorded another video a couple of weeks ago on the subject of fasting and my own experiences with it. And so I will post a link down below this video to both my fasting video and my video on the use of drugs and other substances. Fasting is difficult. It is a major break from your normal daily routine of eating on a regular basis. And I will throw in here a very important concept, which I just touched on, which is that idea of the conscious intention that must be imbued within any of these different techniques that are utilized. That whether it's meditation or yoga or fasting or mind-altering substances or other means, then your conscious intention is important. And so fasting as a way to bring about altered states of consciousness is not just a matter of, okay, I'm not going to eat for 3 days and see what happens. It is that you set an intention, you set aside the time, preferably you have some free time available and a space available in which you can make this a powerful spiritual experience, and you then set up a sacred space, you have some different things available to you to experience through this several days, presumably, of fasting. A journal to write down your thoughts, maybe your dreams, a yoga practice in mind to do in the course of your fasting, like light yoga. You don't want to stress your body too much when you're depriving it of food, but doing some meditation, doing something creative such as painting, drawing, collage, etc. So that you're going to set aside the space and really tap into everything that comes up, because difficult stuff is going to come up. You're going to experience borderline desperation and terror and I can't stand this another 5 minutes. I'm starving. I mean, it all depends. Sometimes fasting is easier than others, and depends on the person, of course. But difficult things are going to come up. But the concept is you move through it. So you go into a state of being in which you can't stand another hour of not being able to eat. And if you have to listen to your body, if you genuinely think that you need to stop this and you're harming yourself, you just have to listen to your body and feel things out. Point being that you can go into a state of being that feels borderline intolerable to you, and then you push through it, and then an hour later you're feeling completely differently. You're like, all right, I'm clear sailing now. I can fast for another week. And then maybe next day you're like, I can't go another day again. I mean, an experience like this is going to push you through many different states of being. And through tapping into and accessing these phenomena that come up, emotions, feelings, negative thoughts, etc., you tap into your subconscious, you tap into your shadow self, and you start integrating those parts of the self into the conscious mind. And so that's really what it's about to a great extent, is through that process of focusing more into the present moment and allowing whatever the present moment offers to be fully experienced, then you come more into yourself, into your being. You come more into the present moment, and that is how you access the true potential of yourself, is by reversing this trend of trying to get out of the self, trying to escape one's pain, trying to mask it, and instead focusing. This is something that certainly lots of people, I'm an insomniac, basically, and so I get stuck awake at night on a fairly regular basis and can't sleep and don't get enough sleep and wake up tired, and it's just kind of my own ongoing situation in my life. But the idea with sleep deprivation, again, would be along the lines of setting aside a specific space and intention, along with fasting or meditation or whatever, of saying, okay, I'm going to stay up all night, through the night, in my room, and gonna have some good music that, preferably of the contemplative, meditative type. Turn off the lights, maybe light some candles, have incense, have a journal, meditate, listen to music, sing, do yoga, do pranayama, yogic breathing, and allow that experience of depriving yourself of sleep, which puts one into an altered state of consciousness. Unfortunately, it usually puts people into an altered state of consciousness in such a way that they aren't able to make use of it in a spiritual context. They have to go to work the next day and they're just tired, and they have to drive somewhere or whatever, and so you're experiencing this whole exhaustion and discombobulated and borderline drunk or on drugs or whatever, but then you have to go into this alert problem solver state of consciousness and do a job, get something done, act like a normal, civilized member of society, and then you're not actually tapping into the potential that can be available through utilizing, the effects that come about from sleep deprivation. So instead, it is about set aside a space and a time and push yourself beyond that state of tiredness and see what it brings up in you, and what creative impulses and juices start flowing, and how it shifts your thinking processes and your perspective and whatnot. And so obviously these techniques are not necessarily going to result in altered states of consciousness in the same sense of doing LSD or mushrooms or peyote or ayahuasca or whatever. That isn't the idea. You can, however, in fact, achieve states of consciousness that rival that, and I have, especially with my experience of Kundalini awakening, as a result of doing many of these things in the year or so leading up to my experience of Kundalini awakening. But also, I did have some very powerful experiences that went in the general direction of something you might experience on drugs by utilizing some of these techniques. So beyond that, then simply making use of some of the things that I mentioned already, such as art, such as writing, painting, combining some of these different things, listening to music and painting at the same time, or drawing, or whatever, staying up all night writing, fasting and doing meditation. The natural realm is a vibration of its own, quite different from that of our busy, chaotic, linear, modern world of go, 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 do, 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 noise all over the place, no time to stop and smell the roses, etc. So if you can get out in nature, get to a park, get deep into the wilderness somewhere, and spend some time out there, several days or a week or two or whatever, this will absolutely alter your state of consciousness in a major way. You drop into a totally different way of being and way of perceiving and thinking, because our modern world has gotten so disconnected from the natural rhythms. The natural rhythms are really God manifested in this world, and our technological societies have really distorted and manipulated that natural world to such a great extent that our state of being is very much separated from and in opposition to that natural flow of being to a great extent. So get out into nature and make use of meditation or yoga or fast or write, etc. Use these other techniques. Stuff like this is not a recreational experience of like getting drunk and the next day you have a hangover and feel kind of crappy or whatever. These experiences are about changing your waking normal state of being. So these kinds of spiritual, conscious, transformative types of experiences, the point is, for one thing, to have a peak, possibly very mind-blowing type of experience that really rocks your world in a major way at that time, but then it carries through into the rest of your life and changes your perspective, changes the course of your life in what you prioritize, in how you relate to people, and how you relate to the world, how you go about your daily business, and how you structure your life, etc. And one can lead to the next, and these kinds of experiences can get ever more powerful and potent and life-changing as you go along. You start to open up the doorway of your perception. Remember, the doors, the band is about the doorways of perception. And so you can start to, kind of like a muscle that you strengthen and flex, and then you tap into its true potential. Your consciousness, your mind, your non-physical states of being can be equated to that, and that as you change and alter and adjust and transform and open up your consciousness more and more, then you change your consciousness in a permanent way, and more becomes available to you to experience as a result of that work, that intention of your conscious self, of tapping into your true potential as a human being, and discovering what is really available to us in this here, now, present moment. So thanks a lot for watching, and if you have any suggestions of your own, certainly there are lots of other ways to bring about altered states of consciousness. So feel free to comment below this video of things that have been effective for you, your own experiences, stories, techniques, and ideas for others to consider. So thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Namaste.